Hi everyone, my name's Anne Andrews and I spent over 40 years working with high-performing teams. And I can promise you that when somebody calls me to say, help, can you help my team? It's just not functioning. I quietly know who the problem is, and it isn't the team, it's the darling leader. And all credit to them for ringing and saying I need help. So I had been working obviously for years and years and years with these high performing teams. When I saw a certain person come down and escalate, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is not good. Because I knew that some younger managers, team leaders, supervisors, probably mostly male, would see this person and his bombastic way of treating people and think that is the way you lead people. No, it isn't. These are just short videos as an explanation about the books I've written. Leadership is a massive topic. Um, One of the first things I talk about in the book, Leaders Behaving Badly, is the leadership enigma. We think about it, we've got different personality styles, different decision-making styles, different working styles, different problem-solving styles, different ways of getting people to do things for us. Being a leader is not easy. It is a really tough ask. And it's the lovely saying, nobody remembers when I do things right, but they surely remember things when I get them all wrong. So leadership is a tough ask. If you're a parent listening to this, you will know how tough it is being a parent. They're not dissimilar. Okay. So one of the things I teach when I'm working with leaders is it's okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes, that's how we learn. Now, obviously, if you're going to keep making the same mistake again, then, there might be something more at stake. In the book, I talk massively about tough leader or bully because I get calls from people saying, oh, look, my boss is a bully. And when I say to them, okay, explain the behaviors, they'll say, oh, and listen, I'm telling you now, bullies come in male and female. She just yells at all of us and abuses us all and makes us all feel, okay, that's not a bully. It's not a good leader, but that's not a bully. That might be what I call an harasser. Well, I'll talk about that shortly. But some bosses are just tough leaders. But if they're tough on everybody, that's not bullying. In the book, I talk a lot about culture, and it's such a vague word. What is culture? Culture to me is the way we do things around here. And to my mind, having worked with teams, hundreds of teams over the years, culture is our values. What are the things that are important to us? If we say, the customer is our number one, and then we sell all sorts of rubbish at the end of the quarter to make our numbers, then our culture isn't customer service. So culture is an invidious, ethereal kind of thing, but you will know it when you feel it. If you have a plaque on the wall that says one thing, and you know that there's no resemblance to what the company actually does, then it's a waste of time, basically. And also staff will be very confused. I talk a lot in the book about normalizing bad behavior. Quite a lot of leaders are too soft. There's a difference between too tough and too soft. Quite often we have a leader that's just too nice or too soft. And when bad behaviors start happening, they don't step in. And so the next thing that starts to happen is everybody's doing whatever it is they're doing. Everybody's abusing a customer or everybody's abusing a supplier. So leadership is what I call knowing when to hold them, knowing when to fold them, knowing when to step in and knowing when to step back. And it doesn't come naturally to all of us. And it's about learning as we go. And it's also about saying, okay, what was my day today? How did I go? Don't think I did very well. It's okay. It's like being a parent. Start again tomorrow. Leaders behaving naively. I cover that a lot. Assuming that yes, we've stated our values. Yes, we've put people through an induction program, but we just have a vague suspicion that there's maybe a few scams going on, a bit of underhand stuff going on. It comes back to the you step in and get it sorted, because the longer you leave something, the worse it's going to get and the more it will spread. And I talk because I didn't want the book to be totally depressing, because I believe leadership is everything. And I do believe, and I say categorically in the book, that we have a change coming. There's a big change coming, I believe. We can't keep doing what we've always done. I mean, that's goes without saying. We can't keep raping and pillaging the planet. We can't keep just driving our employees into the ground for less and less money. We can't keep expecting to make more and more profits. Somewhere in this whole leadership thing, we need to look at what I call a fourth wave, a way of being in business that doesn't rape the planet, that doesn't abuse our people, that doesn't shortchange our customer, that doesn't abuse the communities that we live in. I believe we're absolutely having to rethink the whole leadership thing on a planetary basis. So if we look at the next slide, because this is just an introduction to the books, but one of the things that I think it's important is for me to leave you with just two things to think about, even if you decide, no, I don't want the book. These are two things I want you to think about. There's one piece of equipment that every single leader needs, and it's called a mirror. If things aren't going well, look in the mirror. If you're being slaughtered in the marketplace, look in the mirror. If your people are abusing each other, look in the mirror. Because everything stems from you, the leader. And absolutely, because my background, yes, is working with teams, but in my early days of starting with teams, I actually worked in the area of self-managing teams. And I just want to share with you what I call the delicate art of delegating. So if you look at the next slide, this actually isn't in the book. Many years ago, I worked for a big corporate, and all managers were sent off on a workshop put on by a lovely man called Wolf Jarvis. I would doubt if he's still alive, but this has stayed with me for over 40 years. He talks about the four quadrants of leadership, and he talks about Q1 being it's a decision-making process and a delegation process. So Q1 is I decide. I'm the leader, I'm the boss, I'm the owner, I'm the manager. I make the decisions about that. A Q2 decision is you and I can discuss, you can bring your ideas to me, but at the end of the day, I will make the decision on that particular topic. A Q3 is where you and I can discuss, and I'm quite happy for you to make that decision. And a Q4 decision is where you just make that decision yourself. You don't need to ask me, just keep me posted. Now, when I'm working in the area of managing, delegating, coaching, mentoring, I ask managers, what do you put in each quadrant? And nearly always in Q1, they will put anything to do with finances. In Q2, they might put leave. In Q3, they might put hours of work. In Q4, they might be, how you do your job. When I'm working in the area of leadership, the more stuff I see in Q1, the worse kind of leadership you are exhibiting. The idea with this model is to get as much as you can over into Q4 so that you, the leader, owner, manager, can work what I call on the business, not in it. And the honesty of a Q1 quadrant is that the only thing that has to be in that quadrant is the law. We can't change pay law, Holidays Act, health and safety legislation. The only thing that has to be in that square is the law. Now, quite often managers don't, and owners and especially don't want to put too much over to Q4 because there is the fear that, money will be abused or whatever. But look at that from the point of view of you're a leader, owner, manager, whatever. Look at those four quadrants, because I say they're not in the book, and have a look at where you spend all of your time. If you are spending all of your time in Q1 and Q2, your business will not grow. your team will not grow. Your people will not grow. So look up Rolf Jarvis, if need be, to find out more about this. But truly, this is the art of leadership. And I've taught that for over 40 years. And it just, I still teach that to this day. So if we look at the story of the book, yeah, okay, you can buy the hard copy, absolutely, but you can download the ebook for $4.99. Now, if you are an owner and you have several managers, please gift them a copy of the ebook. It's downloadable immediately. Every single person, I believe, who's in a management role needs to understand leadership rather than managing. Leading in a way that allows people to grow as opposed to authoritarianism or dictatorship or all the stuff we're witnessing right now with a certain person. So that's about the book. And I just want to finish with my thought on leadership. So leadership is, and absolutely this is the 4 quadrants, a person who has the sense to pick good people to do what he or she wants done, and the self-restraint to keep from meddling with them while they do it. That is 4 quadrant leadership. So that's me. Download the book, enjoy it, use it, become a great leader, because boy, we need some great leadership at the moment. Take care. Enjoy the book.